Dan Swede and Brad from Hydro-Chem Systems, working with Steve Rains on his new pressure cleaning system. Alright, typically keep it all basic. You've got a electric start Vanguard 31 horse engine. Standard horse rubber, standard gas tank. Four important things. It is an electric start engine, so if you're going to crank it over to start the machine, you always have to have a valve open or gun open in order to do it. And if you were to crank over under pressure, basically you would blow your starter up. So you always want to release the pressure. If you have high pressure ball valves, it's probably recommended that you add a ball valve maybe before you pick one up. That way, if the valve is open, you don't have to hold the gun, drag the wand over. You can just kind of leave it hanging off the back of the reel. If not, just bring the gun around and open it up to release the pressure. Before you do that, you definitely want to make sure you check your engine oil. The dipstick's right there. The key is there's only 2 quarts of oil in it. When you do check and verify, you know, if you're down a quart, you're half full. You know what I mean? So it's critical. We normally recommend some kind of in the 30 weight engine oil, depends on your climate. That isn't as critical, 5W30, 10W30. It runs very, very hot, so you can look at the manual. Being air cooled, it runs at about 350 degrees Fahrenheit or hotter. So it's not like an water cooled engine. So treat it right. I've always recommended a 50-hour oil change, because I can get from here to South Florida and back in 50 hours. So at that point, with something with 2 quarts of oil in it, treat it right. I've had these engines last 4,350 hours because they were well maintained. And other guys, they can go through them pretty quickly if you don't, you know. 100 hours is they're recommended. So if you're in the 50, 60 hour range and you want to finish up a job before you do it, you're fine. You got that little buffer. Your pump oil is normally pump oil, or traditionally it's a non-detergent hydraulic oil, and they do sometimes also offer the synthetic oil on there, but basically use the pump manufacturer's oil on it. You got a 3,000 watt onboard generator. It's upgraded to a brushless. It's a real heavy duty speed generator on there. When the machine is running, your battery is set up for your just to start the engine and charge the battery, and also it's going to run your soft wash pump and all. It doesn't run the burner. On a high volume, I would never ever use anything really past 5.5 gallons of 12 volt burner. So you got a 115 volt burner. It's the best money can buy. Double insulated, and it is running off the generator. You always have power going to the switch for the burner. Once you turn that on and off and adjust your temperature, then your burner will be on and available, but it's only on under pressure. So the burner isn't going to ignite and run unless your power washes. And that kind of brings it to the new layout on the machine lately. There's a flow switch here and a pressure switch here. No pressure, no heat. No, actually we're not closing down. There's no heat. Then there's a high limit switch, which is a thermostat. So at about 200 degrees it's going to max out with no heat. Goes beyond that. It just protects it from a steam explosion. Steam explosions are wicked. If the thing was plugged into the capture trailer, it's pretty amazing how much power it has. This valve here in the burst release diaphragm or disc, the pop off. If it blows, it blows. It just blows the disc out. There's a way to rebuild it. I've never bothered rebuilding it, but you can replace that. So if you're all of a sudden, if it's doing its job and you hear that thing blow up, it just saves your pressure washer, because this pops off at 8,000 PSI. And it's really got nothing to do with the pump pressure. It's got more to do with steam pressure trapped in there. And what I recommend is if this pops, install a new one. Watch it. It could be another year or two before it pops again or anything happen. A lot of times what might happen is, say your tank is almost empty and you're doing a community sidewalk or a strip center, and you decide to pull forward with the machine running. Sometimes, you know, a guy will be cleaning, a guy will be driving down the road just to clean because it's just so monstrous fast, you know. what happens is if it gets too low, you might suck some air, and it may just, and then all of a sudden you get this steam burst in there from that heat, and at that point you'll pop it, but it might be just a freak then, you know. If you fill the tank up and nothing happens, go back to work. If it blows again, take it to a shop. Don't even think about, you know, plugging that without having that. So this is one of those additional items I would recommend keeping in the toolbox and understanding what it does. That's probably the most important part on the machine when it comes to that. Right now we've got a new 18-gallon gas tank on this. We had to put 2 carbon filters, so this is a major upgrade. It used to only be 8-gallon. Now it's like a day and a half or so worth of work. It's nice. You can top off and keep going all day long and night long. 18-gallon diesel tank on the other side. Should be red, drives me crazy, but with carbon emissions in California and everything else status, they want it black. It is sealed caps. That's why it goes through these carbon filters and everything, because there's no, you know, through eco-friendly type systems and carbon emissions. It's just annoying, but a mess. We actually came up with a new motor. We were getting maybe 8.6 GPM out of it under pressure. And most pumps are rated open flow, not under pressure. We're getting like 8.9 under pressure. So we actually got a fraction more, and actually you can feel it, the difference between this new series. All stainless steel frame. Now on the control box, one of the important features is there is a ground fault circuit interrupter on here. And it's just like a household button that you have in your at home. So if you're running, all of a sudden your vacuum recycling unit isn't working or running, and your burner's working, then if the burner works, you know your generator is working voltage-wise because it's running off the generator, but no, the recycling is not, or vice versa. Say your burner doesn't kick on, you might be out of diesel fuel, whatever this is, maybe a flow switch, pressure switch is bad. For you to do the first step to see if you got electrical power, if you run your vacuum. If the vacuum runs, you go, hey Dan, or tech support here, you know, I got power, though my vacuum's running, but I got no heat. Check your fuel. It also could be a clogged fuel filter. That's super common for the diesel burner. If not, you can always kind of get in there and try to double check to make sure your belts are all tight on the pump and the generator. The generator has its own independent belt. And then there's 3 belts for the pump. So those are either just maintenance, and they, under heat stress, I mean, there's going to be times where they're going to give a little, they need adjustment. But at that point, it's a nice diagnostic tool. Other thing you can do is just have a little hand drill or some other tool, and you can plug it in there and see if it works. That's for guys without the recycling, but with you, you already got the ability to double check that. So your power should be on at all times when needed. And there is a ground fault circuit interrupter. What we found that if the breaker pops, a little red light will come on back there. At first I'm thinking, all right, see a red light, there's power, you know what I mean? Just the opposite. When the red light pops on, you want to reset it until that kicks off and you got power again. So, and actually that's more for the burner. Not the burner, but the vacuum. That's for the plug going to your accessories, like lights or the recycling unit. So that'll be a way to reset it. There's other resets on the burner too, if we have to reset the burner and stuff. Normally it's not a big issue with the resetting the burner off, but just so you know, it's there. Standard 12-volt battery. We use like 1,000 propane amp, you know, deep heavy duty. You want a good quality battery on there. Just keep it simple. You don't have a choke. I mean, you have a choke, but you don't have a throttle. Anytime you have a fixed RPM generator, you don't want to idle down or any of that stuff. It's going to run at a fixed RPM. Under no load, it can run days, and you don't have to worry about it. As long as it's got oil and fuel, you don't have any problem keeping the thing going or having to worry about idling down. So basically, leave that alone. I had a guy actually take it in the shop and they go, oh, no throttle cable, because they had the linkage, but they disconnected it, and they fixed it, and they almost created a problem because you don't want to. You run low voltage, low RPM, you have low voltage, it's going to cause problems. Other than that, you know, you got a vector burner on the other side here. That's your diesel tank. Breaker style fuel filter, water separator, so if you get water you can drain it. This is like the #1 problem maybe after 6 months or a year if you got no heat. You Get unscrew it, look in the light, get clogged. They're like, I don't know, $20 some. Just change them, have an extra one available. Do not use biodiesel. Wipe it out. Always use get kerosene. If not, you don't know if it'll work. Biodiesel, you don't need cooking oil and this stuff here, so you don't want to mess with that. There's your other breaker here in case there's something. So if you ever have to reset something, note it, give us a call, let us know that something happened. With this, the generator powers this huge motor that drives the blower fan, like a squirrel cage. A coupler, there's a little plastic coupler in here that drives your fuel pump, so everything's interconnected. The Hydro Tek does, this fuel solenoid here is attached to the thermostat control. So, say you're not getting any, the heat's not working, if the thermostat's bad, it's going to shut the solenoid down, you're not going to get fuel. So when you're running, you can sometimes track a line or see if that's kicking on and off. And then the other two devices are actually operating the electrical. So it's a double redundant safety system. One shutting the fuel off, one shutting the electrical off. So it's nice that you got a backup system in case there's like an electrical short or something happens. Other than that, if you do recycle your water, clean your tank out afterward. Don't just assume and you're just pumping more and more stuff. I actually had a guy that did it, volunteered to do a chalk festival. Clean up afterward. Well, chalk is below 5 micron. It's like 3 micron to 6. And it's very abrasive. It's almost like graphite. It's kind of wicked. And so he got on the news because he volunteered and they actually showed him doing it. They showed it was a good marketing ploy. I think it was like 3 months later he comes in and there's chalk in his tank. I go, and he had a head problem. I go, dude, you know, do what you got to do, but just don't recycle that without cleaning, vacuuming it out. Do what you got to do to clean it. You know, you want to protect the pump. I mean, I've had these pumps go 1,880 hours without a rebuild, which is like 122,000 miles of highway driving. How many sets of tires are you going to have on a truck by that time? So they'll hold up as long as you don't abuse them. So find a recycle. We got the split tank, which will show you that could be 100% dedicated waste tank, never going back to the pump. Or you could free flow, like if you're doing Walmart stores and stuff like that, where it's not that bad, running through, but crack out the vacuum. Make sure you keep it maintained and managed so you're not drawing anything in there. Now with the back, basically you've got the dual tank Q270. You got a 3-way valve here. But depending on the arrow, like right now it's set up so it's going to flow through the pump. When you want to renoise it, you lift up on the handle here and rotate it. See how the arrows are now going in? Yep. Okay, so there, now we're at the winterizing stage. Come back that way. Here, there. So that's available. You've got your filter here, you can unscrew if you want to clean that out or check it. They say daily, but as needed, you know what I mean? You don't want to have a bunch of junk. I've actually seen where, even without a recycling unit, that thing got clogged because of the water condition. Down south, I mean, they were sand in the water and stuff. It was amazing. And some scale. It was kind of weird. I actually filled up a tank for a guy that had to start a job near my house in Boca, and I looked in after like 2 days of filling from there because they were waiting for a hydrant, so I didn't let them go to my house. There was like rust in the tank. I'm like, holy crap, that's what we're drinking, you know what I mean? But overall, just keep an eye on that. Don't hesitate to vacuum it out as much as you need to. The other valving that is important to know is our tank splitter drain setup here. So what you have is right now we're separated, so all the valves are down. So at this stage, the drain down, the 2 tanks are split. If you wanted to have both tanks open, like get to a job, you want the 540 gallons of water, you let them pull the valve, both valves open here, and here, leave this closed. Now you got a 540 gallon supply tanks, and like I said, you can divide it up as needed. Now if this waste tank, which is a waste tank, because it had the line going back to the top of the filter, if you just want to drain that, you would open this valve and that valve, and you would drain just only the waste tank. For like now, until we got fresh water, you can just drain this by itself to that. So it's really kind of cool setup on the plumbing. So you have total control of how you want to single tank, dual tank, waste tank drain. And then, as we already talked about, this actually has dual voltage on the recycling unit. So you have the 110 volt running the vacuum. And you can easily just come here and feel the exhaust coming out when the machine's running, see if it's working. The other one is the transfer pump, which is the 21 gallon a minute centrifugal pump on the bottom here. That pump operates off of the 12 volt from the battery. Pretty ingenious, because then they don't have to go with a huge generator. So a lot of times you say, well, one light's on, it's working, etc. And there's two float switches in the tank. One will actually turn the transfer pump on so you continually run and run and run. But say you forgot to turn the transfer pump on and you're vacuuming, there's another float that will shut the burner off so you're not overflowing it. So basically, those also could be something that may happen down the road where you have a bad flow switch or something. It doesn't happen often, but it is. You understand that these flows work. A lot of times to test it too, you call them, we might just have you open up the lid and reach in and just grab the float and make it activate and make sure it's working, and to see if that's the problem or not. Like I said, it's really not that common, but it's good to know where everything is. And then you've got a drain on the side here. You can drain your wastewater. Other than that, you probably fire the baby up and let you play with it. There's also an adjustment right here. It's kind of loose. It's kind of like the drag on a fishing rod, so if you kind of keep rolling out, you can just tighten that up and be able to keep it from coming down too much. You probably want to get to the bigger stuff. Go ahead and, like I said, with the ball valve, just keep the valve open. But otherwise, you're going to want to. They're on the list, we'll get them for you. Kind of handed that off. Good. It is running. Alright, so like I said, going back to the first part of the conversation, you get your choke here. You don't have to over choke these, but you do have to release the thrust. why it gets so hot so quick. And then the winter comes off, double insulated. So you basically burn a fire with a beautiful food. So it's just nice oil. Other ones are kind of go up. 5.5 gallons. Well, if we're done for the day or for the hour, you want to cool the unit down, don't shut the burner off, do what you got to do. Actually, since we did shut it off, we'll let the heat off. You don't have to cool it down now, but at this stage, that's where we can release the pressure now, and be able to attach it to the accessories. If you had the ball valve, you wouldn't have to do that. So that is one of the nice factors of having the ball valve. Tighter. Sorry about that.
No, that's all right.
Oh, here. This is your dual outlet. So if you wanted to put like a quick disconnect or fitting here, you can put a QC with a plug, and you can connect your second line to this. And then you've got the 250-foot hoses, you get all the quick disconnects on them, and you can actually run dual gun connection right off of this. So that is your dual operator as an option. So that's just a matter of a few.
Yeah, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think we had talked about having the two hoses on the back of the stack. I have to look at the invoice, and that's something we can't change now, obviously. But
I know we had the inlet reel, the high pressure reel, then we have the soft wash reel. We'll double check whatever's on the ticket. I mean, if there's anything that was missed, we'll take care of, you know.
Okay.
On there. So pretty much we got all that. Let me hook this up. I don't know how they could have tested that. Yeah, what we can do for now is and they probably did that with that gun or the other. Now on these, and then we got to get you another coupling on here. But what you can do too is the gun switch off. So the gun that is on here can actually go right on here and take the wand off. And then we do have our kind of wand. Meanwhile, once you go ahead and fire it up, I'm going to hold the trigger. I'll leave very quickly on the choke. shut the burner off in order to cool off the pump.